Welcome back. So thanks so much for checking out. I've been getting some comments and getting some feedback, and I'm so glad to see people connecting with what I'm doing on my live streams. And I'm trying to present new information a few times a week for people like me who are working on production music and scoring and trying to use technology. And of course, one of the most urgent kind of technologies right now is artificial intelligence, or AI. And there's a lot of misunderstandings around it, and there's a lot of legitimate concerns around it. So for someone like me, I'm generating music and licensing it, and I'm making a living off of that. It's exceedingly important that that my skill set, it remains a professional grade skill. So in the past, that's meant learning new software and learning new tools, but this AI software, the AI capabilities, really threatens what I do because we are fast approaching a point where AI can just generate a piece of music from top to bottom. You could say, to an AI engine, produce a 3-minute instrumental that is orchestral, sounds scary, and features an oboe. And then the AI engine will just generate that, and probably down the road, probably only a year or two out, it's going to sound really good. Right now, they don't sound that good, but that's just a matter of time. It will get to the point, based on my technology experience, I wouldn't be surprised if a year out things were quite good, and 2 years out most people couldn't tell the difference between something from my catalog and something made by AI in a matter of minutes. And I think probably what will happen in the future, more likely, is there'll be engines where you'll sign up for a subscription and you can generate as much music as you want, and it'll generate 10 copies. You listen to them, you say, I like this one, I like that one, and I like that one, or I like the drums in this one, I like the bass in that one, I like the lead guitar in that one. Make me one that's an amalgamation of those, and it'll just generate 10 more. And you say, I like this one, this one. And it's because the technology makes it so cheap and easy to just generate stuff and to say what you like and what you don't like. And machine learning and artificial intelligence, which are very closely related, make it easy to look at a set number of constraints, like there are these 10 tracks. Will likes these 3, make 10 more that are based on those 3. Will likes these 3, make 10 more that are based on these 3, until you get to the point where every one of those 10 is perfect. And the instrumentation sounds great. If you've worked with Note Performer is an example of something that is a very early form of using technology to do stuff that used to take people years to develop the human skills to accomplish. And now Note Performer can play back a score from, say, Sibelius or Dorico or something like that, and it plays it back with nuance and inflection the way human beings would, and it comes back sounding really, really nice. If you've used that, you know what I'm talking about. It's a radical tool. So this brings me to the topic today, which is, well, how can I use this to my advantage? Because this is what I do. I don't want to stop doing this, and AI is not going anywhere. If anything, it's going to become better and better. Now, I will just insert one idea here that I think is a point of hope for those people who share my concerns. And that is that artists always like working with other artists. I would much rather work with people, with other artists, than I would work with a computer. It's true that in lots of situations where I just need something stat, having a subscription website I can go to and generate a solution is definitely appealing. I understand that. And I think that there'll be times when, that's going to be what happens, and probably a fair amount. But artists always prefer working with other artists, and becoming a good artist is still always going to be valuable. That's my projection. It's based on my experience as technology has advanced. And I want to look today at an example that I've been using to use AI to my advantage and talk a little bit about what it's capable of, what it's not capable of. And what I've got behind me here is this website called AVAI. And it is AIVA.ai, I think. And it is basically a tool for just generating music. And I think, let me bring this up actually so that I can bring up another window on it. Sorry about this. My eyes are not that good. Let me just duplicate this out so you can see their homepage. Because their claim is that you can basically write great music with them right out of the box. Let me get rid of myself here. Well, it's not going to let me do that. Anyway, AIVA here is what it is. I'm logged in with a free account, and anybody can sign up for this free account. Now, in fairness, this free account is not designed to do commercial work. They do have a paid account where all of the music that you generate or they generate for you, you can then use for commercial purposes. You own the copyright. That's not what I'm doing here, and that's not really what interests me at this point. I'm going to play you this sample just as an example. I was curious, okay, what happens if I generate a metal cue, a metal track? And we'll hear what that sounds like. So, pretty basic. I mean, it's obviously a distorted guitar, right? In comes some drums. You know, it goes on and on like this for whatever, a minute and a half, something like that. It's not very good. You know, if I submitted this in a professional environment, I'd be laughed out of the door. It's terrible for that. But what AI has given me here, I mean, it generated this in minutes, is a set of ideas that I could vibe off as an artist, as a guitarist, as a producer. So I might take this tempo, right? The AI is telling me they think metal happens at this tempo, and I think they're more or less right. So if I wanted to extract a tempo from it to work with, that's one piece of useful information I could get from them. Another is just this really basic guitar lead. Right, goes on and on, just repeats. But that is a motif that I could build something out of. Could be a guitar riff, could be a lick. I could build something out of that. The underlying distorted guitar that's kind of keeping pace, I could work with that. I could bring that into my much more professional sounding instruments or get out my instruments, plug them in and record parts that are vibing off of this, right? So I don't view it as ripping something off any more than I might be able to make a song that sounds like the Rolling Stones or a riff that sounds like a Tom Petty riff. I'm vibing off of this, and it's nice to be able to get an inspirational idea when writer's block strikes and I'm not sure what to do, or I just haven't gotten anything to start with. I don't really want to spin my wheels. One of my favorite things is to produce music, right? So what I want is to be able to come into my studio and get started as immediately as possible. And I don't really need it to be the greatest musical idea that I've ever had. I just like coming in and starting to vibe off stuff, to generate stuff, and this is where AI is really handy. Now let's look at some of their capabilities here. If I go up here to create, I can create 3 compositions, I think, a month with this version. I was pretty impressed with the solo piano here. Let's hear their little sample. Sounds pretty good. So there's chord voicings in here. There's a tempo. There's a sonic character, right? There's the, that's a very moody piano. It's got sustain. You got the sustain pedal down. So it immediately generates some ideas. I might even sample it and mess around with it, chop it up in one of my tools and build something out of it, play in the real parts, add some different voicings. I can hear some nines in there. So again, I might just generate this as inspiration. Or let's take another example. Let's see what they get for EDM. Let's see what their EDM little example is like. All right, so we got a tempo here. And a vibe, right? Just a vibe. We got this kind of like reverbed out vocal above this 4 to the floor beat. Might give me some ideas, and I just start vibing off of that. So I might lay down a 4/4 on my push or machine or something like that, and keep going from there. Let's listen to a couple other examples. These are just examples that I could create if I wanted to. Afro House Fantasy Wave. Let's see what that sounds like. Come up with, but pretty interesting to me as a composer, because I would not come up with those ideas. I like the idea of AI as an inspirational tool, just to vibe off of. So I can come in here, just get an idea. Maybe I'll get a motif out of it. Maybe I'm just getting a chord change. Maybe I'm getting chord voicings, or maybe just the vibe of it. It's airy, or it's driving, or it's aggressive, or it's got swagger, or it's threatening. I get a vibe and I hear it and I'm like, oh, I know which instruments to go to. And then I go back to my library. I go to my chords. I go to my tools here in the studio to vibe off of that. And I think it's totally appropriate. It's miles away from any kind of appropriation or just ripping stuff off. It's just a source of inspiration, like I often do. I often sit down and I listen to music for inspiration, but using AI generated stuff to do that. And this website is, I think, particularly effective at it. AIVA. You can sign up for a free account. Check it out. I'm in no way affiliated with them. I don't have a link in the description. I'm not really into trying to push things as far as getting people to sign up for stuff. I just shared this tool. I think it's pretty interesting, and more than this tool. I don't know. Maybe this tool will last. Maybe it won't. But more than just this tool, I think I'm looking for ways as a composer, as a professional, that AI maybe isn't a threat, but a tool, something I can use. And encountering it this way is definitely something that inspires me, gets me going in a direction, and I love that. So I hope that you learned something today from this. Please leave a comment if there's a topic that you would like me to cover. I need topics. I'm doing these streams pretty often. I've got a lot of ideas, but I'd also love some ideas. So leave comments, like and subscribe. Really helps me move the channel forward. I appreciate you guys watching, and I will see you again next week. All right. Have a great weekend. Bye.